So we're going to talk about the giving and receiving of love, because 'tis the season, right? And we already have established in other services that we're list makers. So we make that list of all the people we are excited to buy for, need to buy for, and have to buy for. Let's get real. It happens, right? Thank you. Somebody's honest. And then we make a list of the things that we want to buy, need to buy, and have to buy, which we know eventually is going to turn into a New Year's resolution of curb spending and pay off the credit card. Okay? Which leads us to all the events that we go and do and attend and host and all the things that go into that, and the eating and the drinking and the eating and the drinking, which turns into another resolution of stop eating and get healthy, right? Okay, I know I'm sounding really bah hum. I'm not bah humbug. I'm not. I'm really not. Especially because the talk that Joy gave last week about the gift giving was really cool. I thought it was very informative, and this is important. This is significant. But what I want us to do is I want some balance. I want to inspire and perhaps encourage you to give and receive love 24/7, 365, not just one time a year. Now, I'm glad we only do this other stuff one time a year. But the rest is the 24/7, 365. And because the reality of it is we all live in the same world, but we do not operate on the same frequency. And that's what we want to try to continue to do, is be a part of raising that frequency, being an influencer and making that better. And so where does it always start? I beat this drum every time. Where does the loving and receiving and giving start? With ourselves. Yes, exactly. It starts with yourself. And because when you love yourself and you really live it, that signals to the universe, I'm deserving and I am worthy. And we want that to be what our return is, right? So definitely. And when was the last time that you all sat down and gave yourself credit for how far you've come? Really giving yourself credit for what you've been through? And you're still a decent human being. Isn't that cool? Right? Or what about celebrating good or big or little things? It's hard enough sometimes to celebrate the big things, much less the little. I gotta tell you, Friday, I'm cleaning house. Well, there's a pretty big gap between the back of Elijah's and my desk and the wall. And that little ravine was getting pretty scary back there, because he pushes stuff off and doesn't get it, and then I push it off and I can't reach it. And so I moved the desk, cleaned it all out, vacuumed it, found stuff I really needed. It was great. I made him come in. I'm like, look at this, isn't this gorgeous, isn't this beautiful? So we celebrated the cleaning of the space behind the desk. Thank you. And that is what we need to do more of. More of this. Seriously. And you know what's great about this is it created a memory for Elijah and I, and we'll laugh about this numerous more times. Okay? And it's just, these are the things that feed us, that do that. How many times do you tell yourself, I'm proud of you? How good you feel about yourself, that you're proud of the darkness you have walked through and are sometimes in. And yet you come out on the other side willing to heal, wanting to shine, and choosing you. That's it. That's it. Be proud. Now, I think sometimes we think that the love that we're going to give and receive is out there somewhere, that we are supposed to be seeking it, and that we're going to find it or it's going to find us. It's all right here, all the time. What we really need to try to do is figure out what barriers we've actually created within ourselves that inhibit us from giving and receiving. Probably more receiving than the giving, but still, because we're giving loving people, but do you allow yourself to receive? So this comes from a lot of different programming. What do they say, that it's 10% what happens and 90% of how you respond to it? It's our programming, it's the things that have happened in our lives. So I realized in my early 20s, I was raised in the blame, shame, guilt environment. So in my early 20s, I didn't even want to say or hear the G-O-D word. You know why? Remember when I talked about how we categorize things? I had categorized that as a good, bad, right, or wrong thing, and I had put that word in all that shame and blame. When I looked within myself and realized how I was creating that attachment, it's not the word's fault, okay? It's not. And what I realized is, no matter what, whether it's God, Jehovah, Allah, source, love, light, energy, it's all the same energy. And I was robbing myself because of the programming that I had received. I think we have PTSD about these things. I'm serious. There should be therapy for this. So, what I'm getting at though, be aware of what barriers you might have because of your prior programming that could be preventing you from giving and receiving. And it's funny because this year more than anything, I'm always telling people what our church does for Christmas, that we do the Grinchmas. And more this year than ever, people are going, what? Why? The Grinch? I'm like, this poor guy is really getting a bad rap. He is not getting the credit that he deserves, seriously. So, because the whole story is about love, okay? And I was like, that's it, I'm gonna write it into my talk, because people need to know what really happened to this guy. And I'm glad you led into that, so I'll just reiterate a few things. But anyway, when it starts off, the Grinch has that tiny little heart, because he has been programmed by different things that have happened to him in his life. And he's operating from a place of fear and a place of lack of love. He doesn't love other people, but he also doesn't love himself because of the things that have happened to him. Now, when people are like this, and I know we all know them, and hopefully we aren't them, but that when they operate from a lack of love, it brings out meanness. It brings out disrespect. It brings out anger and hatred and fearfulness and projection. I go on. But I mean, so that's where he was operating from. So when he's got this little town down below him that is just singing and jolly and happy, it is crawling under his skin bad. Because he doesn't want to be the only one miserable. Misery loves company. And he thinks that if he steals their stuff, because he thinks it's their stuff that's making them happy, that they're not going to be happy either. Really like him. Okay? So he does. He sneaks down in the middle of the night and takes everything. I'm talking trees, decorations, packages, bows. They're hams, for goodness sake. He took their food. And he's all happy about this. Until the next morning. When to his surprise, what does he hear? They're singing. They're rejoicing. They're celebrating. They're out in the middle square holding hands and dancing. He is like, no way. I took their stuff. There's no way they're happy. This is impossible. So the whole core of it is, it's not until he receives forgiveness and unconditional love that he sees it, he experiences it, he feels it radiating, that his heart finally breaks open and grows. And he's got a big old heart by the end. Yeah. And the thing of it is it's always there. That's what I want you to understand. There's no seeking outside of this. You are filled with the most magnificent energy and love and light all the time. What barriers have you put up that are keeping you from giving and receiving? Now, the awesome thing about this, I know this is always a strange thing for a minister to say, you're not here to save anyone. You're here to save yourself. And the beautiful thing about that is when you save yourself, inadvertently, guess what you do? You save other people. Because when you decide to operate from a place of love, when somebody comes to you that has something going on, you filter it through love and understanding and empathy and compassion. You don't filter it through the neglect and the hurt and the fear and the anger. The other thing operating from this place of love helps us do is navigate the things that happen in life. You know, it's the way they responded was up to them. They could have thought Christmas was ruined, it's over, you know, but they didn't. They made the most of it, and they enjoyed it with what they had, and that was each other, loving each other. So what I want us to do is allow giving and receiving of love from our authentic selves to be the thing that defines us and helps us understand that we have an incredible power from this, okay? And that brings me to us. I want to talk about the Mindful Spiritual Center. We'll see how far I get in this without crying, but we're going to talk about the Mindful Spiritual Center. You know why? Because I want you guys to know how significant you are. I want you to understand how blessed we are that we create this sacred space. And it's ours. It's our energy. It's who we are. It's what we bring to it. Okay? And we here, it's our goal to create this environment that no matter how you feel when you walk in that door, we want you to feel even better walking out. Okay? Because we want this space to be loving, supporting, accepting, and safe, right? Because that's how you truly grow and find a way to expand. So I want to think about that. We have, out of 365 days, we have 52 opportunities to gather together and spend this hour together with each other to raise our frequency. Do your individual work, because we all got to do that. But you know what's really cool is when we come here and we combine it, it's even bigger. You know why? Because we choose inclusion. We choose empathy. We choose compassion. We choose equality. We choose dignity. We choose diversity. We choose community. We choose kindness. We choose integrity. Amen. We choose respect.
Amen.
Huh?
Amen.
Yes, thank you. We choose humanity. We choose love. And I want you to say, no matter what, that's the key. Because whether you're grinching or bah humbing or having a tough time, we love you. And if you're grinching, guess where you need to be? Is right here. Because there's no chance all of us are going to be grinching at the same time. Okay? Because what's really cool, and what I want to what you guys to understand is how big this truly is. Because when we come together and we share, and we sing, and we love, and we laugh, and we hug, and we eat, and we celebrate. We celebrate every Sunday. Today's a little bit different, but we celebrate every Sunday. And when we do that, what happens to the frequency in this room? We expand, it expands, the center gets it, Maryland Heights gets it, St. Louis gets it, Missouri gets it, it goes global. That's what I want you to understand, the power that you have as an individual. Whether it's the parking lot, heck, that's how we snagged Dion, right? Mary caught him in the parking lot, and look at him now. You know? And that's just it. It's like that, you get to reach out and touch people and spread this out. Now, Greg Braden, we all know who Greg Braden is, right? Okay, he's a scientist, geologist, all kinds of stuff. He's science, he's numbers. He says the heart is 60 times stronger electronically and 5,000 times stronger magnetically than the brain is. And we all think we're pretty darn okay up there, right? But what I want you to realize is the activities that we do from the heart is incredibly powerful. And any activity you do from a place of love and a place of presence is a spiritual path. It's a spiritual practice. You guys remember the studies they did for a while where they were sending groups of people out to meditate in certain communities, and it was actually lowering crime? It was actually making things more peaceful? What do you think we do? 52 times a year. We're part of that. We're part of that. And I want to make it even bigger, because I've talked about the critical mass a couple times turning into quantum leaps, but I really want you to like see what that means, and I want you to know. So some of you may know the 101 monkey story, but we'll refresh and bring everybody else up to speed, because basically the story is that there was some Asian scientists that were studying monkeys on these islands. And their main food source was a yam that grew in the sand, and they just dug it up and ate it, which was kind of hard on their digestive system and their teeth and stuff. We don't know whether it was by accident, play, fun, or intentional, but one of the monkeys washed its yam. And it connected with, I like this. This is good. This is better. So with intention, it began to wash its yam every time and inspire others to do it. And others saw it and did it. And there was some that still resisted, but the scientists said that one day, all of them began to wash their yams. Now the quantum leap of it is other monkeys on other islands that had never seen or washed their yam started washing their yams too. That's what I want you to understand. Who we are, we can have that kind of energetic frequency to be the influencers in the world. And I don't want you to think that this is anything that you have to get crazy about, you know? I mean, this is your own personal growth, just being you. Ram Dass talks about how it doesn't even make any difference if it's the first day of the apocalypse or the first day of the golden age. The work is all the same. It's loving other people. And that starts and makes it easier when you love yourself. So do me a favor. Wake up with love. Love yourself, love your life, love living life, just for being you. The giving and receiving of love within yourself and in your life will permeate all over. So if you leave this message with anything, please know and accept how awesome and great you are simply by breathing, simply by existing, and being your authentic self.